Well, hello everyone out in YouTube land and BookTube land. Welcome to the History Shelf. My name is Peg. It's been a while since my last video. For that, I apologize. I had some vacation time and I was doing some work over vacation. I did have some time off. And then we had the 4th. So yeah, something tells me something big just happened and I missed making a video on the 4th of July. However, America's 250, America's 250th birthday, I feel like should be celebrated throughout the month of July. It shouldn't just be that one weekend, right? It's a big milestone. It's a big achievement for the country to be 250 years old. So I thought I would make a special video highlighting some brand new history books that kind of really cover the beginnings of this country, revolutionary period, colonial period, that kind of stuff. I was very grateful to the folks who sent me a box of books with some pretty fabulous colonial and revolutionary history. So I had to share these with you guys. They're on my reading list and they might be on yours as well. So let's begin. Most of these books are from a publisher called Brookline Books. They're based out of Pennsylvania, but I've got a couple of other publishers in here as well, including, we're going to save this little treat, this little nugget, one historical fiction title by an indie author. So, and I might bring this up again in my next indie author spotlight, but it's based around this period, so I wanted to include this in this special video. So where should Peg start? That's a great question. And let me just remind everyone, hi, I am Peg at the History Shelf. If you haven't had a chance yet and you're new to the channel, do me a favor, like or subscribe if you love history, if you love reading, just in general. I cover a lot of things on this channel, not just history. I do cover fiction. I am a freelance book reviewer. In my spare time, I write a ton of reviews, and I'm always updating my social media feeds with the work that I do. So if you'd like to support me in my channel, please just watch my videos, subscribe, and check out my social media handles. Okay, so having said all that, let's get into this. This is, like, to me, the highlight of this box of books for America's 250th anniversary. It's 2 volumes. So the first volume, this is called Noble Undertaking, Volume 1, The Continental Congress and the American Revolution, 1774 to 1778, by Brian Deming. When I saw this, I said, yes, please. This book is going to be going into great detail. Well, here, I'll read to you the jacket, and then I'll show you the second volume. All right. The beginning is a convention of delegates groping for an honorable way to mend ties with Great Britain. The Continental, sorry. See, when I haven't made a video in a while, I get a little tongue-tied. So the Continental Congress developed into an assembly saddled with the task of ushering in a new nation while managing a war. This book examines the crises that bombarded Congress over those eventful years and explains how this collection of mostly well-off men with much to lose came to lead a rebellion. Wasting hours, days, weeks in debates that went nowhere, delegates squabbled, complained, compromised, acted courageously one day, foolishly the next. The account follows Congress as delegates fled Philadelphia in the face of a British threat to set up shop in Baltimore and later York, Pennsylvania. Documents and letters enable the reader to eavesdrop on the thoughts of delegates as they raged at the British, moaned about their colleagues, some things never change, cheered morsels of happy news, and sent off pleas for someone, anyone, to come take their place. For many, serving in Congress meant mostly drudgery, frustration, and anxiety, all while far from home. Yet this feeble government succeeded. Without taxing authority, it financed the war and maintained an army in the field. Its diplomatic team, despite treachery and ineptitude, engineered a critical alliance. In 1778, as Congress returned to Philadelphia from York, the war was far from over, but the path to an honorable peace was in view. Congress, for all of its many flaws, astonished the world by bringing forth a new republic and setting it on a course for a promising destiny. That was the idea. Brian Deming, he was born in Kalamazoo, Michigan, another Michigander like myself, has a master's degree in American history from Northwestern University. Fantastic. Let's see. His most recent book was Boston and the Dawn of American Independence. Okay. They currently live in Canada, and I don't blame you. All right, Noble Undertaking. So we've got this first volume, and this looks just so great. We've got some illustrations here and there, some artwork, but I can't wait to see, how the narrative reads on this. At first, I thought it was going to be just mostly like a collection of notes from these meetings and stuff, but this looks like a full-on massive work of history. And I love multi-volume history. So we've got volume 1, again, from Brookline Books. So check it out. Volume 2. All right. And now we can see George Washington in his uniform. So volume 2 takes us through 1778 to 1784. Another big, beefy book. So what are we going to cover in this section? Let me tell you. In 1778, the prospects for the new United States seem promising, even as the War of Independence continues. The diplomatic team that the Continental Congress dispatched to France has secured an alliance. The British, now facing 2 enemies, give ground. Having recently chased the Congress out of Philadelphia, the British abandoned the city, allowing Congress to return. But British troops still occupy New York City and other parts of the new nation. The challenges of driving them out and securing an honorable peace remain. Meanwhile, old and new crises complicate the work of Congress and threaten to fracture the Union. I love that it's written in present tense because it makes it seem more it's closer to us. It's more urgent. Let's see here. Congress's novice diplomats in Europe plead for arms, money, and more from France while scouring Europe for other allies. While leaders in Vermont, defying claims to the would-be state from New York, test Congress's patience. The breathtaking betrayal of Benedict Arnold tests delegates' faith in their own military men. The Continental currency, which served well in financing the war early on, collapses. The Articles of Confederation, the nation's first constitution, proves unsuitable from the moment it is ratified. Delegates and the states they represent dispute how lands to the west will be settled and governed. Congress, for the third time, must flee Philadelphia, but this time not because of the British. This time they slink out of town in fear of their own troops, who are angry and bitter about lack of promised pay. Congress sets up shop in a college building in Princeton, New Jersey, and then moves on to Annapolis, the Maryland state capital, where delegates ratify the longed-for peace treaty with Great Britain. And that's where this book takes us and ends us. So thank you to Brookline Books, Osprey, Bloomsbury, Casemate, all you guys. This is a fantastic, I can't wait to dive into this. I really want to do some more studying about the roots of our country. I've done a lot of reading in American Revolution and the forming of the government and all this kind of stuff. But this looks like a narrative history that I'm going to enjoy reading. And I really was excited to check it out and to bring it to your attention. All right, so let's see. Next book I have here. Yes, this is covering the Revolutionary War period. Nice trade paperback from Brookline Books. This is Threshold to Valley Forge. Focus on that. The 6 Days of the Gulf Mills Encampment. And this is by Sheila D. Vance. I know Bill Rutenberg would probably really love to check these books out. Yeah, we'll have to get you connected to this publisher, Bill, since you're such an American history, that is your focus. Let's talk. I'll see if I can refer you over to these good folks. All right, so between December 12th and December 19th, 1777, General George Washington and his Continental Army encamped in the towering hills of Gulf Mills, Pennsylvania, 15 miles from Philadelphia. Known as the Threshold to Valley Forge, the Gulf Mills encampment is often forgotten or minimized. Here's the thing. I haven't even heard of it. So I've got a lot to learn. Falling between the more famous military engagements of the Philadelphia campaign and the well-known experience of the Army at Valley Forge. Yet the Gulf Mills encampment was a pivotal microcosm of the Revolutionary War and the issues that confronted the Continental Army, the Continental Congress, state governments, and the American citizens who suddenly found themselves on the front lines of the war. This encampment included military encounters with the British, little food, clothing, and shelter for the troops, the celebration of the new nation's first Thanksgiving, and tough decisions by Washington, including the one to make Valley Forge the Army's winter quarters. Based largely on writings and documents from soldiers, generals, local residents, Continental Congress, the British Army, the Pennsylvania General Assembly, and Benjamin Franklin and his colleagues who were in France seeking support from the French King Louis XVI, this first, there's going to be more. Hang on. This first book on the Gulf Mills encampment reveals the fascinating details of Washington's and the Continental Army's last stand before and as they moved into winter quarters at Valley Forge. So this first book, guess Sheila D. Vance might be coming out with another one. I can't wait. Okay, I'm excited to read this and learn something I didn't even know about before. Threshold to Valley Forge. Yay, thank you. I can't wait. All right, let's see here. Okay, let's stick with the winter campaign. Got another book here. All right, this is also from Brookline Books. This is called Winning the 10 Crucial Days, The Keys to Victory in George Washington's Legendary Winter Campaign. And this is by David Price. It's a nice hardcover, it's a slim little volume from Brookline. But let's see what we have here. The 10 Crucial Days Winter Campaign of 1776-77 is one of the most storied in the annals of military history. David Price examines this pivotal moment in the Revolutionary War through an interpretive framework that always makes me nervous as a historian. Through an interpretive framework that focuses on 5 key factors: leadership, geography, weather, artillery, and contingency. His narrative differs from earlier works on the subject that are largely chronological accounts of this period. The 10 Crucial Days were the canvas on which a masterpiece of bold and enterprising leadership was painted. This canvas may have borne George Washington's signature, but the brushes were furnished by the officers and common soldiers he commanded, and the coloration made vibrant by the hues from various contributing factors, such as the quality of decision-making on both sides of the conflict, the nature of the terrain, the effects of the weather, the roar of cannon fire, and the vagaries of fortune. Ooh, I think I might like this interpretive framework, actually. The confluence of these overlapping factors seemingly conspired to frustrate British designs at a critical moment in their effort to overpower the American rebellion. Although each was important in its own right, their aggregate influence on the course of events reflected the mutually reinforcing nature of these elements. Leadership that met the moment, when combined with the auspicious effects of favorable geography, weather that accommodated the needs of an army, the adept use of numerically superior artillery, and fortuitous developments that fall under the rubric of contingency, won the 10 Crucial Days and propelled the revolutionary cause into a lengthy war of attrition that engendered American independence. Thank you. That was a lot to read. David Price. This is fascinating stuff. Yeah, I like when books kind of say, okay, here's some factors that we think really impacted this campaign. And it's not strictly this lockstep chronological approach. So I'm actually really excited to see how David Price puts this all together in Winning the 10 Crucial Days. All right, moving. Oh, this one's going to take, okay. I have one actually that is not colonial related. I thought these all were, but that's okay. That's okay. I think I'm going to surprise you. You know what? I'm just going to show this book again. This one is from Osprey. I read and reviewed this and gave it a glowing review, and I actually gave away a copy, I think, in a giveaway. I can't recommend it enough. You should all check out War Without Mercy: Liberty or Death in the American Revolution by Mark Edward Lender and James Kirby Martin. This was a great book. It just talks about how, and I've talked about this book a few times on this channel, so I won't read the whole synopsis again. I'll just read this real quick for any of you who are new here. War Without Mercy shatters the romanticized myths of America's founding war and confronts readers with its grimmest reality. The Revolution was not just a fight for independence, it was a brutal existential conflict where restraint often vanished and violence knew no limits. And that, boy, was that true when I read this. Their theme, they kept on repeating it and underscoring it throughout, was the existential nature. Everyone felt like it was a fight for sheer survival, and it was savage. So I really highly recommend War Without Mercy by Osprey Books and Mark Edward Lender and James Kirby Martin. Okay, I'm going to keep moving here. Make sure we get this a nice short and sweet video for you guys. All right, I was really intrigued by this title because I've always wondered what happened to these folks. Okay, and this is The Loyalist Experience and Aftermath in Revolutionary Philadelphia by Kimberly Nath. This is from Brookline Books, slim little volume. But it's all about the Loyalist experience. Come on, camera. All right, let me read it to you. Ooh, there's a lot of type here. The city of Philadelphia was key to the American Revolution, being the seat of the Continental Congress. It was also a flashpoint. It flipped from being the bastion of American revolutionary power to being subjected to a 9-month British occupation. But while British sanctuary in Philadelphia was brief, the consequences were far from it. When patriots reclaimed the city in June 1778, the laws which had been passed by the newly independent Pennsylvania legislature came into full force. These laws identified, condemned, and confiscated all property from Loyalists in the state. Philadelphia's large Loyalist population was to meet with punishment and meet it head on. Each Loyalist experienced different fates and persecution under the law and in the community. Many Loyalists fled. Not all of them stayed away. Roughly 10% of Loyalists returned to the United States and attempted to rebuild their lives in the new nation. Loyalists like Matthias Aspden lost everything and spent 20 years following the Revolution attempting to return to his beloved city of Philadelphia. He never truly succeeded, for the America he cherished no longer existed. Others, like Samuel and Rebecca Shoemaker, attempted to subvert the law, maintain ownership of their property by way of their daughters, and did in fact reintegrate at the conclusion of the war. But for some women, the fight would not be shared with their partners. Many Loyalist men fled in the name of self-preservation. Wives and children were frequently left behind to fight the Loyalist legacies of the men who'd formerly led their families. For these wives, the absence of their Loyalist husbands represented an opportunity for independence in a personal, not just nationalistic sense. Interesting. Women like Elizabeth Graham Ferguson sought sole ownership of their property, battling the courts to protect it from confiscation invoked by the loyalism of their husbands. Through the stories of 4 Loyalists and their families, the richness of the Loyalist experience in Philadelphia is revealed, adding new narratives and a personal dimension to the history of the American Revolution. Political upheaval becomes personal. Oh, yeah, that looks great. Yeah, fabulous. So this book is it's a little short of 200 pages, but this is going to be a great addition to my Revolutionary War studies, my collection. So, and it's an angle that is not often covered, and I really love that. I like having that aspect. All right, another Brookline Books, this is more of like let's see here. It takes us over 100-year period or more. It's different. This is called Grave Dealings: Body Snatching in Philadelphia, 1762 to 1883, by Tim Duisaki. Grave Dealings. Body snatching, baby. What's going on here? In the 18th century, the first American medical school was established in Philadelphia. Following the model of European universities, anatomical lectures were conducted with cadavers. But where did the bodies come from? Dissection was viewed as a fate worse than death, and the only legal source of stiffs was executed criminals. But there were not enough. As the medical profession and its need for anatomical material grew, a new macabre practice emerged, body snatching. I know this is not along the lines of it fits into the time frame, though. If this was, we're just going to go with it. Body snatchers secretly obtained bodies from cemeteries and sold them to medical schools for dissection. But how did body snatching work? How did body snatchers and medical schools avoid getting caught? And what happened when they did? How did the era of the body snatchers end? Grave dealings did... Okay, time out. Personal note. We got any horror fans out there or mockumentaries? One of my favorite, like, indie, funny / scary movies was called Grave Encounters. And he'd start his thing every time saying, "For grave encounters." I can't do it. "For grave encounters, I'm Lance Preston." Anyway, thank you. Let me know in the comments below if you know Grave Encounters. And that's why I started reading it just like that. Grave dealings. Pet Kurkowski. Digs through archives to unearth the forgotten history of a time of graveyard shootouts and anatomy riots. This is hard for me to read this. I don't know why. When the dead needed protection from the living. Imagine that. It explores the social, cultural, practical, and legal aspects of body snatching in America's first capital city and relates it to the continuing ethical struggles that surround the treatment of human remains to this day. Okay, so a little bit of a journey away from the America 250, but kind of, still kind of, hey, I wanted to include it. So let me know if you're into grave dealings. Being silly now. All right. Ooh, this looks great. This is actually from Pen and Sword. Yeah. Check this out. Black Redcoats. The Corps of Colonial Marines, 1814 to 1816 by Matthew Taylor. Black Redcoats, you guys. Did you know? I think I did. I knew that there were, well, I think that, yes. No, I think I did. But we're going to find out when I read this to you right now. All right. And mind you, these are all new releases. Let me make sure. Yes. Yes. Okay, during the Anglo... Oh, yeah, okay, the War of 1812. Okay, I got you. During the Anglo-American War of 1812, British forces launched hundreds of amphibious raids on the U.S. The richest parts of the U.S. were slave states, and thousands of enslaved African Americans fled to British forces in what was to be the largest emancipation of enslaved Americans until the abolition of slavery in the U.S. From these refugees from slavery, the British built a force, the Corps of Colonial Marines. Black Redcoats. They were a fusion of two great American fears, the return of the British king and an uprising by their own oppressed slaves. The Corps of Colonial Marines turned Britain's campaign on America's coasts from one of harassment to one of existential threat. See, there's that theme again, to the new nation. Although small in number, the Colonial Marines, fighting to liberate their own families as much as for Great Britain, exerted a massive psychological impact on the United States, which paralyzed American resistance with fear of a widespread slave uprising and allowed British forces in the Chesapeake to burn down Washington, D.C. As well as examining this little-remembered part of British military and African-American history, this book will also look to the post-war history of the Colonial Marines, their continued survival as a unique ethnic group in the Caribbean today, and their involvement in the largest act of armed African-American resistance to slavery. The Battle of Negro Fort in 1816 was the only time American forces left American territory to destroy a fugitive slave community, a community led by former colonial Marines who, when faced with American attack, raised the British flag. This book brings Black history to the fore of the War of 1812 and gives a voice to those enslaved people who, amidst great power competition between a slaveholding republic and a slaveholding empire, demonstrated exceptional bravery and initiative to gain precious freedom for themselves and their descendants. And this is Matthew Taylor's first book. So I am very excited to dive into this. We definitely got, our stuff in the center. We've got our artwork. I love that. I love this artwork that covers the front. What is this called? It's a colonial marine as they appeared shortly before being disbanded on Bermuda in 1816 and settlement on Trinidad. Fully uniformed and equipped like their Royal Marine counterparts. That is dope, and that's what you see on the cover. That is so cool. So yeah, I am excited to check this one out. This is from Pen and Sword. All right, one more book from Brookline, and I had to get this one. This goes to, we're looking at Civil War now. Let me just take a sip here. Getting a little parched. I hope everyone's been well. I hope everyone's enjoyed their 4th of July weekend and everyone's safe. It's been a while and I miss talking to you guys. But this is A Forest of Granite, Union Monuments at Gettysburg, 1863 to 1913 by Brendan Harris. And until I can get to Gettysburg, which is on my bucket list, can you believe I've never been? I want to dive into this book and look at all the monuments. I don't think, well, they covered Union monuments and in black and white photos, which is, it is what it is. But it is throughout. I mean, yeah, black and white, but these are about the Union monuments at Gettysburg. So I feel like I've got some homework before I go to Gettysburg, whenever that will be. I'm going to make sure I read this book and probably take it with me. But here, let me give you a little rundown. Nothing too long here. The monuments at Gettysburg tell a story of how war and a battle can shape individuals and inspire their desire for future generations to remember those deeds. Just as the dirt and gravel trails at the Gettysburg battlefield evolved over time, so too did the memorials and the veterans' attitudes to monumentation. Follow Brendan Harris into the Gettysburg National Military Park as he tours the battlefield, offering a fresh perspective on Gettysburg and a selection of the Union monuments, markers, and memorials dedicated there. So just kind of a nice overall book that gives some context around these monuments. Wait, are you kidding me? General Gregg? You guys, I'm blown away. Okay, one thing I don't know if I've mentioned on this channel. Now, I'm not related by blood, but when I was first getting into Civil War history, and my mom's sorry, Mom, I don't mean to put your history up on blast. My ex-stepfather, his last name was Gregg. And I learned through his beautiful, wonderful parents, God rest their souls. They were lovely people who lived in Buffalo, New York, that they had a Civil War general in the Union. And I just went and got this genealogical bug, this ancestry thing, and I started researching because at that time I was really getting into Civil War history. Now, my ex-stepfather could really have cared less, but I was like, you're like related to a celebrity. And it's just, I would kill for this. Now, I still want to research all of my history, which basically is a mix of things. I know I've probably got some stuff in my family. I'm going to show some pictures on this channel that I got recently that I'd never seen before. Real old pictures of my family and my ancestors in Germany. That's going to be a trip. But I've always wondered, was I related to anyone who fought in the Civil War? So I can't believe I just opened up to this page and there is a monument to the guy I had been researching most of my childhood around, General David Gregg. He was a cavalry general. He was a very good one, but he never drew attention to himself. He wasn't a loudmouth braggart. And this is his monument. I just saw that. General Gregg cavalry shaft on East Cavalry Field. And there's a whole section on here about General David Gregg and what he did. Oh, yeah. He led the what did he lead? He was also like around with Custer. He knew Custer, all these guys. Let's see here. Yeah, he fought against Jeb Stuart and he stood his ground. David Gregg and he was a Pennsylvania guy, just so you know. He's a Pennsylvania general. And that whole Gregg Mc oh, there was a governor in Pennsylvania, McMurtry, not McMurtry. Murtry or something. They Curtin. No, the Curtins and the Greggs. They were kind of related by marriage, I think. These two big families in Pennsylvania. Anyway, oh yeah. And then it says here in 1880, the 3rd Pennsylvania Cavalry Association members met for their 3rd organized reunion, and discussion centered on how best to memorialize their accomplishments and their division commander, General David Gregg. And this just talks about what a type of guy this was. It says here, however, Gregg requested that if a monument was to be placed, it would not honor just himself. A compromise between the committee determined that the monument be, quote, representative of the various brigades and batteries engaged in the cavalry on the right flank, end quote. That is, so when I go to Gettysburg, I'm going to, hopefully I can lay a flower there or something, but I'll definitely get a picture of me there. Oh, this is exciting. Serendipity, you guys. So I am really grateful for this book. I cannot wait to go to Gettysburg. Can't wait to read this and then just chart my itinerary, you know. Okay, so a couple of other books and then we got a couple of Casemate books that cover some of the this period. You know, these Casemate illustrated slim volumes that are so much fun to read, and they're easy to read, and they're accessible. They're colorful, full of colorful photos, maps. It's great stuff. We've got here The Revolutionary War, the Brandywine Campaign, 1777, by Michael C. Harris. This is part of their Casemate Illustrated series. All right, so we're covering the battle or the campaign of Brandywine. And then we're going to jump ahead again to the War of 1812. And this is the Gulf Theater, 1813 to 1815, by Joseph Stultz III. These are great fun. I collect these, as you know. If you've seen some of my military hauls from Casemate and stuff, I read them. I love them. They're great. So I highly recommend these. Now let me close with this one because I talked about this book before, and my schedule it got so overloaded that I was this close to having a breakdown. Like, Peg, you gotta stop. I want to interview everyone, like everyone who's like emailing me. The author would love to talk to you, and I'm like, I would love to talk to him or her. I just need to get a chance to read the book and then can get them scheduled and all this kind of stuff. But this is another one that I want to do, and they sent me a finished copy of this book, and everyone's been talking about this book because it's a recent release, and I know that they were really genning this up for the America 250. But anyway, Riverhead Books sent me a finished copy of The American Revolution and the Fate of the World by Richard Bell. So everyone at Riverhead, it's still on my docket, and I still say that whether it's this month or next month, we should still be celebrating America 250 through the end of the year, really. So I'll make it happen. Just give me some time. I've just been so busy. Yeah. We read about this book to you. The American Revolution was a true world war, much wider than the colonists' struggle to overthrow an overbearing Britain. It upended the lives of millions of people on every continent, disrupting trade, sparking famine, restructuring penal systems, and creating the first global refugee crisis. Positioning the revolution at the center of an international web that stretched as far as India, Africa, Central America, and Australia, Richard Bell conveys the cataclysmic force of the conflict by grounding his narrative in the gripping stories of individuals, including women, Black people, and Native Americans. Unexpected and unforgettable, this revelatory recasting of America's War of Independence transforms everything we thought we knew about our creation story. So that will be interesting. The American Revolution and the Fate of the World. Interesting. I love that he's just going like global with this. Wow, and in Australia too. Like, what's going on here? I'm really intrigued by this book. So yes, this is on my to-read pile. I am trying to work through some other books for upcoming author interviews. So I'm just trying to knock them down as I go. I've got 2 other books in front of this. So give me some time, guys. But it should be coming at some point to the history shelf. And if you're not aware, you've seen that I have been increasing my level of author interviews. And that's something I enjoy. I love talking to someone about history, about their research. It's more natural. I sit here and I look at a camera, and I'm just, I'm more awkward, I think. But when I'm talking to someone, I have a lot of fun. Anyway, all right, we're going to end with this, and I'll include this in the next Indie Author Spotlight Roundup. I just want to give a shout out to folks that are just making their dreams come true. This is an indie author's work of historical fiction. It's called An American Patriot, A Revolutionary War Soldier's Fight for Liberty and Love by Keith Smith. This is put out by Voyager Publishing, though. But, very large type. I don't even need glasses to read this one. Oh, and nice little art illustrations at the beginning of each chapter. Let's take a look here what this one's going to be about. War tested his courage. Love gave him purpose. Restless wanderlust first carried Thomas Elwell from the Virginia frontier into Lord Dunmore's war, but it was the fiery call of liberty that bound him to the American Revolution. He survived starvation, disease, and the bitter cold of Valley Forge. He fought through brutal combat, endured imprisonment by the British, and carried the grief of losing his closest friend. But amid the bloodshed, Thomas discovered something he never expected: hope. In his darkest days, a courageous young woman named Elizabeth nursed him back to strength, leaving him with a vision of life beyond the battlefield. Long after the war ended, her memory would ignite a new kind of quest, one not for glory or vengeance, but for love. Told by his descendant, Keith Smith, an American patriot, brings to life both the grit of America's fight for independence and the humanity that carried one soldier beyond the war. That sounds so interesting. What a great cover, too. This looks like a lovely little read. Ah, I love it. So I wanted to end with that, just a little bit of historical fiction, just to celebrate America 250. Cheers, America. May we make it to 251. I cracked myself up. In addition, I feel like I have extra time now because normally my videos are 50 minutes. Anyway, in addition, I've gotten some a lot of periodicals that are like writing articles about, America at 250, kind of like looking at, where we're at, where we've come from, all this kind of stuff. I've been thinking about doing a video on recent periodicals and journals and things I've read. Would you guys be interested in that? I guess I'm putting that up there for you. For whoever is still watching this video at 40 minutes later, I usually lose people within the first 10 minutes. So, I mean, that's what the YouTube analytics tell me. But hey, I know who I'm doing this for. I'm doing it for you guys, my cadre of loyal viewers. So let me know, yeah, if you'd like me to like cover some just recent magazines and periodicals, I can't say the word. Let me know, because I've got a lot. All right, so let me know in the comments below what you thought of this selection. What stood out to you? What looks juicy? And see if your library has them, or you know, a bookseller that you like to support. Like I said, these are all very new, and oh, they are heavy. I'll try to do a. Ooh, look at that! I'll try to try to squeeze that into my thumbnail. Let me know what you think, and thanks for joining me for this rousing look at my America 250 reading list. New history to celebrate America's milestone anniversary. All right, guys, thanks again for joining me here at the History Shelf. I promise I won't let another 2 weeks pass again. It's been very busy. All right, guys. Love ya. Mean it. See you next time. Bye.